After uploading this video about the time I dreamt of an entire Black Ops 2 mission that both fits in the story and changes the story, I decided to write down all of my other Call of Duty related dreams that I remembered having. The intention was to make a video for each of them, but I quickly came to the realization that none of them were long nor detailed enough for an individual video. That being said, I still think there's quite a bit of interesting content here, so I've decided to split the stories up into two videos. One for the Modern Warfare games, which I will be covering today, and one for the Black Ops games. I'll just say now that since these are dreams, there will be some gaps in the stories where I can't remember what happened, and some might not make logical sense at all, but let's get into it. Let's start with Call of Duty 4. A long time ago, but not as long ago as some of these, I dreamt of two missions that directly follow one another. Just like last time, I'm going to start with the lighting. It's dark, but not completely. I'm going to compare it to going outside during the summer at about 8:45 p.m. The sun is set and very little light is coming from that direction, but rather than the sky being black, it's more of just a dark blue. That being said, this mission takes place on a train. The mission fades in from a black screen, with Captain Price and the player walking through an empty train car. The character you're playing as is never specified, and in fact, the only reason I'm sure that this is Call of Duty 4 is because of the way Captain Price looks. He has the distinct COD 4 look to him, and is wearing night vision goggles rather than his signature hat. Anyway, after making your way through, you open a door to the outside, the part that would connect two train cars. Captain Price opens a power box and cuts it, before looking at the player and signaling you're about to breach. Both of you turn on your night vision and open the door, starting a combat sequence. This one is pretty straightforward. You're able to mow down the enemies as they aren't able to see you, and the train car is a compact environment. After clearing it out, Price kicks down the door to the next car, which is a passenger car. The enemies are fighting back this time, but you get through it all the same. Price then says something along the lines of, "Come on, we need to take out the driver," and the game fades to black. The next mission begins with the train stopping in a town. You look in the distance to see that there's one particularly tall building that stands out. Every other part of the town is dark, while the skyscraper is brightly illuminated. Speaking of which, the sky is completely dark now. Captain Price gets off the train and directs you to get into a vehicle that resembles a Humvee. You get in the passenger seat, and the screen fades to black again. So here's where it starts to get fuzzy. The game fades back in, and Price is slamming on the gas to crash directly into the skyscraper. You crash through the front door, and the vehicle drifts sideways. You quickly get out of the car, and that immediately begins a shootout. You clear the lobby, and from this point on, I only remember small parts of the story. I remember the player and Captain Price going up a stairwell, then entering a room and detonating a bomb which blows a hole in the side of the building. After that, you proceed up to the roof so you can escape in a helicopter. And that's it. As far as I know, nothing in the mission went wrong, which is both unusual for a Call of Duty mission and unusual for the Call of Duty missions that I've dreamt about. That's the end of the story. Okay, so here's the thing. Last time I tried to fit my dream into the actual story of the game the best that I could, but I feel pretty stumped this time. I suppose this could have happened at any point in the story, but there's one detail that keeps bothering me. No one else is shown besides Captain Price and the player. It's not like a normal Call of Duty 4 mission with all of your favorite characters such as Gaz, Griggs, and Kamarov. Although the person flying the helicopter you escape on, maybe it's Nikolai. Another detail, though, is whenever I think about this, I think of the two levels I dreamt as being the last missions in the game. In fact, until making this, I didn't consider the possibility of this being somewhere in the middle of the story, with missions after it. Because of that, I tried to think if this would fit in with the last couple of COD 4 missions. But the 2 points of defusing the nukes and killing Zakhaev don't happen. This might seem like kind of a cop-out, but I'd like to say that these would just be bonus missions after the story, either replacing Mile High Club or following it. If this were the case, then these two missions would take place before the story of Call of Duty 4, and you'd be playing as someone who is not Soap, maybe Gaz. I'm not sure. Regardless, there's probably plenty of more fun ways to fit this in the story, and if anyone wants to, feel free to leave them in the comments. Moving on to Modern Warfare 2, things are about to make even less sense. After starting a new game, rather than loading into the SSDD mission that we all know and love, something different happens. You instead spawn into some sort of guard tower, near a bridge, in the whole area surrounded by a forest. You hear through your radio that you need to make your way to the town because some sort of assault has begun, and there's no more context than that. You climb down the ladder and begin walking through the forest. This goes on for a solid 5 minutes. You walk through this forest, occasionally encountering an enemy and taking them out. I guess this would serve as a good tutorial. Eventually though, after doing that for a while, the screen fades to black and the next mission would start. The next mission is actually quite a familiar one. It's essentially the Bomb Squad Special Ops mission, but rather than taking place in the environment of the Hornet's Nest campaign mission, it instead takes place in the favela map from multiplayer. There isn't really much to say here. You just defuse a couple bombs and then the level ends, just like the Special Ops mission. Here's where it starts getting especially strange. The next mission takes place in the Loose Ends campaign mission. Kind of. You can see the main house from that mission in the distance, but you're far northwest, which is another strange thing. During that campaign mission, you never actually go that direction. You start at the northeast, and when running to the very end of the mission, you go southwest. So it makes sense that this would be an unfamiliar environment. Anyway, describing this mission, you're in a completely flat field with a single broken down house that you're using as a vantage point. You have another ally with you, and this mission involves shooting enemies from the broken down house, but something is wrong. The enemies charge the house with no strategy whatsoever, as if they're zombies. In fact, maybe they are zombies. They still use guns, but their behavior is essentially that of a zombie. The thing is here, there's never actually a resolution to the mission. You just keep shooting and shooting the enemies until eventually, well, I woke up. And that's it. That's it for Modern Warfare 2. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even think I want to attempt to make sense of this, because there isn't really even a story here. You aren't with a signature character or characters from the game, and the objectives are straight up bizarre. I mean, the first mission I described here doesn't even take place in a Modern Warfare 2 environment. So if I'm being honest, I want to just move on to the last game, Modern Warfare 3. I'll start by saying that this one is actually unique in a way, because it's absolutely an alternative version of an existing campaign mission, that being Iron Lady. The mission starts like this. You and your allies are on top of a parking garage, signaling for evac so you can get Volk out of there. It does play out a bit differently than the real mission as well. Rather than your transport just crashing, it crashes directly into the parking garage that you're standing on, causing the whole building to collapse. You regain control of your character, with you and your allies trying to get away from the rubble. You head down this alleyway to another street, and then begin fighting enemies. You're shooting at the enemies, and then moving up. You know, standard Call of Duty stuff. Once you and your allies make it to the street, however, you begin controlling the AC-130, just like in the actual mission. And from that point on, it actually plays out completely normally, just like Iron Lady. You regain control of Frost after firing on the building, control the AC-130 while escaping in the vehicles, and it ends with the Eiffel Tower collapsing. And that's it. That's all I have for Modern Warfare 3. Well, there we go. That's every time that I dreamt a mission in the Modern Warfare series. If this is your first time watching my channel, I'd recommend you watch my first video like this, about the Black Ops 2 mission I dreamt in detail, as well as my last video, about the scene in Black Ops 2 where you get thrown in the desert. Unlike most of the videos on my channel, which are just me speedrunning without commentary. These have taken quite a bit of effort. I'm hoping for success, of course, but I'm not necessarily expecting it. Regardless, thank you for watching this far. My Black Ops related dreams might be even more interesting, so make sure to watch that when it comes out. Goodbye though, I enjoyed making this.